Well, hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Young Adult Edition. We are so excited to see you. Today is National Princess Day. If you couldn't tell by our crowns and tiaras, we want to know, what is your all-time favorite princess YA book? Drop it in the comments below. My fellow princess co-host, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I am loving the crowns. Amber, tell us a little bit about what you got there.
This is my son's crown that he wears around the house singing, "I'm King of the Castle."
I love it. And Elle, how about you?
I actually got this one when we did a mermaid episode last year. It was like one of the first that we did when we revived the show. And it is very mermaid inspired because it's like little coral reefs there, and it goes with my kraken that is behind me.
Fully prepared for Princess of the Sea today, I see.
I am.
I love it. And this is a fun crown I've had for a few years. You can actually find this on several book covers. So just saying, it's out there in the world. And we want to know, are you wearing a crown or a tiara today? Jump into the comments and let us know what you are doing for National Princess Day. We're super excited to see all of you. We are going to be joined in just a few minutes by a very special guest who has a lovely princess book of her own. But before we jump in, we do need to talk about book world news. So ladies, what do we have this week?
Well, not any book news, but the 12 Days of Bookish Christmas is coming. Details will be announced soon, but it's going to be a whole bunch of authors and a whole bunch of fun with prizes and goodies. So stay tuned for that.
All right. So, and on the tail of that, Young Adult Edition is actually looking for a team of reporters. And if you want to apply, you know where to find us. And all that entails is the reporter is going to be in charge of grabbing some book world news for us, writing blog posts, and basically just helping us out because we are quite busy here. So if you're interested and you're dedicated to the book world, especially young adult world, hit us up and let us know if you're interested.
And we hope to hear from you because we're really excited for this one. We've got some big things planned for our reporters and some extra bonusy things. So come check it out over at youngadultedition.com for more details. And we've got some other opportunities for you to get involved with Young Adult Edition later on in the show as well. But before we get there, we are talking all about National Princess Day today, and we're talking about new releases. So hands up. Who is your which is your most anticipated book coming out this week? Every single week, our new releases are brought to us by @the over on Instagram and on Facebook. Every single week, she drops all the new releases in the young adult world and a couple of other genres as well. So if you want breaking news, come hang out with us here at youngadultedition.com. And you can go over to @the on Instagram and Facebook for all those new releases and let us know which of these are you most excited for. And if you're an author or a publisher who has a book coming out in the next couple of weeks, make sure you let us know so that we can include you in our new releases. Every single week, you can go check out youngadultedition.com/new-releases for all of the new releases. And of course, you can hit up youngadultedition.com/news for breaking news in the book world. All right. We are so excited to see all of you today. For National Princess Day, we're talking all about how to write a princess novel in today's episode, and we've got a fantastic special guest. We're so excited to be welcoming J.A. Armitage. She's the author of Charm. How are you, J.A.?
I'm very well, thank you. Look, I have my tiara. I join you all.
We love it. We love the tiaras. If I could have an excuse to wear a crown every single day, I would. So I'm extremely excited about National Princess Day. Are you thrilled that we're celebrating today?
You know, it's not very often I get to wear the sparkles, but look, I'm here. So yeah, you know what? I normally walk around the house, cleaning the house, looking after kids, but today, why not? Let me be a princess.
Yes. And I feel like as we're vacuuming and cleaning and taking care of the kids, maybe crowns should be an everyday thing. What do you think?
Do you know what? That's a really good idea, but I think this is why I write about princesses and queens and kings and dragons. because it's just so much more exciting than laundry.
I think we'd all agree with that one. Melanie's in the comments saying, good morning, ladies. Love the crowns. Thank you. We are excited to celebrate National Princess Day today. So before we jump in and talk all about how to write a princess novel, and if you guys have questions, now's a great time to drop those. We're going to be answering all of those while we are live today. And if you were on our replay, drop them anyway. We're going to be checking the questions and comments over the next couple of days and weeks and get as many answered as possible. If you got one that's really, really good, but we don't get it answered on air, we might just be able to convince our guest to come back today. And before we dive in, we do want to learn just a little bit about your princess story. So what is Charm all about?
Okay, well, I have it here. It is not actually about Cinderella. It's a Cinderella retelling, but Charm is actually Prince Charming. It's a gender swap. So the story is about Princess Charmaine, and she falls in love with a Cinderella character who is actually a guy called Cinder who works in the palace kitchens. So it's Cinderella, but it's slightly different.
Fantastic. And Elle and I also have princess books we'll be chatting about today as well. Let us know if you're joining us live. What is your all-time favorite YA princess novel? Drop those down in the comments below. We can't wait to hear from you with your book recommendations. And I see we've got people joining us. Scarlett says, looking fantastic, ladies. Thank you. We're excited for National Princess Day today as we are celebrating all the fun. All right, let's dive in. We're going to be asking some questions on how to write princess novels today. And if you've got any, we would love to get those answered for you. So let's dive in with kind of an icebreaker question. Why does YA love princess books so much? What do you think?
I think exactly what I said before. You know, we all have these kind of normal everyday lives. We go to jobs, we go to, you know, we look after our kids, we go to school, we watch the TV. But how wonderful would it be to be able to wear a ball gown every day, to wear jewelry, to wear the tiara, you know? And I think we all kind of dream that this would one day happen to us. And you know what? Why can't it? There is no reason why we can't wear these every day. Why can't we wear the sparkles? So I think that's why we like the princesses.
I love it. And the best thing I think about princess novels is that it spans all of the genres, whether it's fantasy, sci-fi, contemporary. There are so many different types of princess books. So Elle, why do you think YA loves princess books so much?
I think it's drilled into our heads at a very young age. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just think like I was a generation that grew up on Disney movies, and you always have your Prince Charming or Philip or some kind of prince in it. And it's kind of like one of those dream things. Like, and I don't mean to like go into real life, but you have Meghan Markle, who was just an ordinary girl and she became a princess. I think it's something that even guys dream about becoming like a prince, I think. So I just think it's a dream come true. And when you read about it, it's something that as an author, you try to make it realistic, and it's like a rags to riches thing. And I think the rags to riches stories is always going to be relevant, whether it's YA, NA, adult. And I think that's why. That was my long-winded reply, but I think that's why.
Amber, what do you think?
I agree. It's, you know, a dream. You're going to go to this magical place and, you know, wear the gowns and get the jewelry and all the sparkle and the glitter and, you know, be in charge of a whole country.
I feel like that's kind of why I lean into these princess books, because princesses and royalty have so much power to make changes and make a difference and do the things and protect people and all of the stuff that comes with being royal. And so I kind of like leaning into that power that maybe we don't necessarily get, but also there's the sparkly gowns and the jewelry and the crowns and the fabulous things like that. So I'm just saying, if I could wear a ball gown at all times, I would. Hey, we want to hear from you. If you've got questions, now is a great time to drop those. We would love to get those answered while we're on air today.
So, J.A., what goes into world building for royalty? Some people may not think a lot of world building goes into this, but we know that a lot goes into it. So what actually goes into building the world and how the royalty works?
Well, with Charm, I actually use a lot of politics. I'm British, as you can probably tell, but I use a lot of like the American politics, and it sounds really boring, but the whole wall building. And I was thinking about, this is going to sound really boring, but like the World War II and like the sides and how people were oppressed. And it started that as a base. And I had, instead of having real things, I had the mages, the people who did magic, and against the people that didn't. And the royals were like normal human beings. But there was a war between the normal human beings and the magical people. And the Cinderella character, who was Cinder, he was a mage. But he was oppressed. He could do all this magic, but he worked as he washed pots and pans. So I started at our base level, but I added the magic in. I added the glitter, I added the ball gowns, and I talked a lot about dressing up, about the sparkles, about the crowns. But the base of the story was this big war between the two. And I think it gave it a lot more depth rather than just sparkly. So we did have what you'd expect from a normal Disney, the crowns and the princesses, but there was a lot more depth to it. So we definitely had the two parts to the story.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to chime in here because in Royal's Vow, I also have a division between the people. It's werewolves kind of split in half with the humans of the kingdom, and the royals are kind of the reason why they are the three little pigs who sit on the throne. But the Princess Stacia, she is trying to make a difference in there. And I implemented a lot of politics too, because it just creates, it sounds boring, but it actually is what drives the plot.
And it's human as well. It's what we understand as real life, but it's taking it out of the real life and it's making it a fantasy. But it's what we all understand because we see it every day on the news. We see these divisions between people. And I think my story was about bringing people together, no matter, I used magicians, but magicians, it could have been any, two sides really, So that's where I went with that.
No, I agree. Exactly. It just creates more depth within the plot. Instead of just like, oh, well, what's the reason? That's the reason. There's the whole politics and everything. And it really creates depth to the world, too. It makes it believable because it's something that we understand. So, Amber, I'm going to go to you.
Oh, well, I don't have any princess books. I am writing a prince book that involves a princess, sort of. Geez, I don't know how to answer this. Let's go to KM.
Hey, I'll take it. I feel like with royalty and with the royal systems, there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of regulations, there's a lot of behind the scenes things that they have to adhere to. And I feel like that kind of leans into the politics of it as well, because there is this hierarchy and there is the system and there are things that they actually have to lean into as a royal, but then there are the people around them who have to react to them in specific ways. And so I feel like when you're world building for royalty, it really does come down to the rules, the regulations, how they act, how people act around them, and then the things that they're dealing with on a consistent basis. They don't necessarily have to make the smaller decisions in life, but they have to worry about starting wars and ending wars and preventing wars and taking care of their people and being responsible for all of the people within their kingdom. And so establishing those rules and establishing that hierarchy and having those specific steps that have to be followed really lends itself to building that royalty within it. And that goes for fashion as well. There are certain things they can and can't do. There are certain things they can and can't say. And I feel like when we implement that into the stories, that really helps with the world building on the royalty side of things.
Yeah.
All right, listen.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Just in Charm, she had the big world around her, but her main problem that it starts the book with, her sister died. It starts a week after her sister died, so she was now the next in line, the heir to the throne. So the whole story was she had to pick a husband, and there was the ball, just like in Cinderella, but she had to pick between 100 men. She had to choose between 100 men. So they had the fantasy part of that. She had all these different men that she had to pick a husband from. So she had the immediate, this is what I don't want to get married. I don't want to marry. I don't even know these men, as well as the wider scale of the politics as well. So there was the personal side and the kingdom side too.
That's awesome. If you have questions, we would love to hear from you guys. Go ahead and drop those down below and let us know, what is your all-time favorite princess book in the YA world? We're going to get to that in just a few minutes. You guys know I've got my favorite sitting right behind me. We're going to talk about that momentarily. But we want to get all of your questions answered. And if you are on our replay here on Facebook or over on YouTube, we want to hear from you. We're going to be monitoring those questions and comments. So the more you drop, the more answers you're going to get later on. And the more we might be able to convince Jay to come back and hang out with us.
Okay, getting back to princesses, what do they look like in YA? What do you think? Do they have any certain things that they have to have in young adult, or?
Do you know what? I would say you have to have the ball gowns and you have to have the crowns, but I don't think you do. And you know what? I think any girl, anybody could be a princess if they want to be. I don't think it really matters what they look like. Slap a tiara on, you're good to go.
And I love that, because I feel like in YA, there are so many different areas that we can actually be in, because it's contemporary. So what does a contemporary princess look like? It's going to look a little bit different than wearing those ball gowns. Just look at Meghan Markle at this point. What does she look like? And if we go into the world of sci-fi, what is that going to look like? What is a futuristic princess going to look like? But then when we go to fantasy, you can end up with a medieval type princess. You can end up with a very, very futuristic type princess. It could be something completely different than anything else we've ever seen. So within the world of YA, I think princesses can range from being those strong characters carrying weapons, wearing pants and boots and like gonna save the world, all the way to ball gown, all the way to that medieval long sleeve dress gorgeousness. And I kind of like that we have the ability to kind of change how princesses look from that very specific old version of princesses, which happens to be my favorite, but we have the ability to do all sorts of things. Elle, what do you think?
You know what? I actually like a blend. I think there's nothing wrong with a princess looking however she wants to look. Like if she wants to wear fighting leathers, so be it. Let her wear fighting leathers. She is within her right to do so. But I think, like, generally speaking, my preference is a princess that can wear that ball gown or that day gown, and then she would have no problem going to the front of a battle in her fighting leathers. Like, that to me is like the definition of a strong princess. And while that might not be historically correct, we're writers and we write fantasy. We create this fiction, and we can do that. We can put a princess on the front of the battle lines, fighting alongside, her soldiers and everything. And I think that's something that again, personally, every princess in YA fiction should really kind of be fighting alongside them. That's just me, though. Like,
Amber, what do you think?
I think I agree where it depends on the genre. If you're, say, an alien princess, you could be, walking around in like Princess Leia crazy clothes, or, who knows. But yeah, so I think it really depends. So it's kind of a hard question to answer. But yeah, I agree that, I want her to be herself and able to wear, two crowns instead of two hats, go to the front lines and then also, do the fancy formal fun stuff.
That's awesome. I love it. Melanie's in the comments. She says, I haven't read enough princess books. Well, we are coming with all of the great princess recommendations today. We want to hear from you. If you've got princess recommendations, drop those down below and let us know what we should be looking at. But that actually brings us to our next question.
So, J.A., if you could be a part of any princess book, which would it be?
Ooh. That's a really good question. And I don't know the answer. Oh, I don't know. I'm sure it would have to be something Disney related, something with fairies, something where I just had to wave a wand and I didn't have to worry about, look at the state of my makeup. Someone where I could just wave a wand and I would be beautiful. Oh, maybe Sleeping Beauty. I'm writing Sleeping Beauty at the moment and I do love that story. So yeah, something Disney related, something where I didn't have to do anything. Cinderella, fairy godmother. Who wouldn't want a fairy godmother? Yeah, that's where I'll go with. I want the fairy godmother.
That's a good choice. Good choice. Amber, how about you?
I would want to be part of the Kiss of Deception by, I think it's Mary E. Pearson. It's a trilogy, and I don't want to give spoilers, but I would want to be part of that book so that I could go comfort the guy she doesn't pick because I shipped it, of course.
I still need to read that, and now I'm scared because we usually ship the same people, so...
You're going to ship them.
I haven't read it yet either, and I'm usually the opposite of you guys. Am I going to be okay with it, Amber?
Well, yeah, you'll be happy, but...
For those who are just joining us, we love to get into our ship wars, and Amber and Elle are buddies on this. They are team together, and I am so the opposite in almost every case. So we need some more friends over here on my side. I'm just saying, come join me. Let us know who you ship in these books. We're gonna do a shipping episode again soon. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We should. So I'm gonna continue the question. I would love to be put in Stain by A.G.Howard. She just came out with that, which was a loose retelling of Princess and the Pea, and it was such a fantastical world. The characters were great. I would love to be in that story, and maybe even the princess, because I mean she ends up getting a prince. So, but Cam, how about you?
Well, we all know that I'm a little bit obsessed with the Selection series. I would want to be in the second half of the series as the princess who gets to choose from all of the suitors. I do not want to be competing for a prince's hand. But I'm a big fan of that series. And I just kind of love how Kiera Cass implemented a lot of what she did, especially going back to the world building in that, how she created the hierarchy and the structure within it. So all I'm saying is, like, let me have the ball gowns and let me run the palace, and I would be a happy camper. Ravindra is in the comments saying, Elle's tiara is so pretty. Loving on the tiaras today. We're celebrating National Princess Day, and we're super excited. We want to hear from you guys. If you could have any princess outfit in the entire world or prince outfit, what would it look like? And more specifically, what would your crown or tiara look like? Let us know down in the comments below as we are hanging out and talking all about National Princess Day and how to write princess books. Now, we are going to be diving into everybody's favorite part of the episode. Amber, what do we have?
This or that. So we have princess themed this time. So I'm going to give you two choices and you just have to pick one of that. The first one is tiara or a crown. J.A.?
Why can I not have both? Give me both.
All of them?
I'm not choosing that. Bring it on. My husband's got the coffee, so he's a prince to me. So no, I'm having both and coffee too. I'm not going to choose.
Hey, you're a princess. You can have whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a princess.
We're going to keep you around. I like this.
I am going to go with tiara. I like the more delicate looks than like a full-on crown. I think that would hurt too much too. The tiara is enough. There's so many things that you can do with the tiara. I feel like a crown is more limited, even though you can get pretty creative with that. I'm going to say tiara just because they look nice, you know?
KM.
I'm a tiara girl because they're sparklier and they're a little bit more delicate, and I am prone to getting migraines, so a tiara is going to be better for my head. And I feel like Elle said, crowns are a little bit more limiting just because they tend to be very structured and you can't like adjust them and move them around, and it's kind of, you have to wear them in a specific way. So I'm a tiara girl, but really anything sparkly that I can wear, I will take it. Melly's in the comments saying, I love a light pastel gown with a tiara like JA's.
Oh, thank you.
Amber, how about you? Are you a crown or tiara girl?
I probably would have said crown before just because it's more like fancy, but wearing this is driving me nuts on my forehead. So I would pick a tiara because you could just like, put it on your head easier.
Yep, I think it comes down to like once you wear it, you have a very clear vision of where you're going with your future crown tiara uses.
Not this. Okay, next is, we know that princesses, are good at kicking butt, but do you prefer them to kick actual butt and be like strong warriors, or to use their wits and kind of play the game?
Oh, now I can answer this one. I like a nice, very intelligent, I like the nerd. So yeah, so probably not someone who's really going to go and kick ass, but mentally kick ass. Yeah, that's the guy I go for.
Yes. How about you, Elle?
You're grinning at me now, going, yay.
That is a hard one because I like both. But if I can't say both, then I'm going to say wits. Because if for whatever reason she couldn't fight, then I'm going to say wits. But my big answer would be both.
KM.
I feel like with this game, we're all getting one cheat today. I am definitely a wit person. I like to kind of know what you're doing and then manipulate the situation just a little bit. And I kind of like being able to outsmart people. So I'm definitely wit over brawn, I guess, in this one. How about you, Amber?
Same. I like to see how they like play everybody and, get people to think it's their own idea and win that way.
That's the best way to play the game, I think.
Right? And our last one, you guys, not both. They're traditional princesses, like the Hans Christian Andersen, Disney, or one that's completely new. You've never met them before. Jay?
Is it cheating if you said both again? I don't know. I do like both. I find that really difficult to answer because, there are so many amazing princess stories. How do you choose? And I don't necessarily, I like the ball gowns and everything, but I like it all. So what I like is it's the character. It's not what they wear. It's not the time period. It's usually when you have a princess character, she's coming up to being a queen. She's in that kind of time period in her life. And it's how she deals with the situations that the author throws her in. And that is what I like. It's not necessarily about what she wears or, if she's marrying a prince, it's how she's dealing with her situations in that time period when there's all these expectations on her. She's in the public eye. So you like you said, the Meghan Markles, she's had that for real, and the Kates and I'm British, so we have the British royal family, and they're in the royal eye, in the public eye, all the time, and it's fascinating, and they have to do it looking amazing. So both. I'm sorry, I'm such a cheater.
Rebel princess there.
Right. Yeah.
Elle?
I would say a modern day princess, like somebody that you don't know, a completely new princess. As much as I love the old school fairy tales, and I just think creating you don't have to even if you do retellings, you don't necessarily have to stay true to the Cinderella, but I just feel like creating your own, you have more wiggle room, and you have the freedom to create traits outside, because you still have to kind of like stay with Cinderella's personality somehow. Like you have to stay true to her in some ways. So I will say creating your own princess. Final answer.
Okay.
Well, I'm a retellings author. Most of what I write is retellings, or that's out right now is retellings. So I'm going to go with the classic princesses. I love them. I adore them. I like to rewrite them in 800 different ways. So I'm definitely leaning into the old school princesses, but I do have princesses that are entirely not retellings. And I love learning about them too, and being able to develop those characters as well, and to read about those characters. So I love both, but I love the classics. So my answer is classics. How about you, Amber?
I love the classics, but it's not going to be my answer. They're nice, like if I want something, an easier read where it's like more comforting. But I prefer to like meet a new princess and find out what a new story is, because like Elle said, they kind of all have like the similar things, and I want something new sometimes.
Fantastic. If you've got questions for us, now is a great time to drop those. We love hearing from you. And if you have questions for this or that, go ahead and drop those down below. We'll answer them after the show, because we love this part of our show. And if you are loving on this or that, give us a little love down in the comments below. And if you're here having fun, hanging out with us, we need you to do us a favor. We want you to bring your friends to the party. We're celebrating National Princess Day today, and we want all of your princes, princesses, queens, and kings to come join us as we're hanging out and having fun live on air or to a replay. So go ahead and let everybody know that you're here hanging out with us today, so that we can all celebrate the royal fantasticness together.
All right, so moving on just a little bit back into some questions that aren't a game. Jay, what are some important elements to focus on while you're writing your princess books?
I think it depends. I think, like you said, if you're writing a new story or if you're retelling an old one, if you're retelling something that's been told before, you're going to want to keep something that people recognize, because that's why they're going to your books. So, for example, a Cinderella, you're going to want maybe a fairy godmother or a pumpkin. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You can change it. I mean, that's the best thing about being an author. We have this ability to make worlds our own. So I think, like I said, a retelling, you're going to want to make it so it resonates with people, that they recognize it. And if you're doing something completely new, you're going to want to realize that these usually young ladies, young adult, 18-year-olds, they're in that period of their life where things are new to them, but they have the responsibilities. So you're going to have to want to have them react to these situations that normal 18-year-olds wouldn't need to react to. But you want to make it real as well. So people are like, well, I can see myself in that position. What would I do?
Exactly. Amber, what would you like to see, since you have not written a princess book yet? What are elements that you like to see in a princess?
Well, I can say for my prince book, I mean, it's, but I like the family dynamics, because I feel like it will resonate with a lot of people. Well, not this family is messed up, but like,
gee, Amber, what do you say?
But like the family ties, I really like, how their relationship is with, the king, the queen, siblings, if there's any rivalry for the crown between the siblings and things like that. I really like that in Princess book.
I agree. To answer that question, I think creating kind of that family dynamic to create the royals, and then politics for me is like a huge thing. It doesn't have to be something that's so ground shattering, but it could be something as simple as there's a kingdom that neighbors them that wants to move in, and they've made threats about war. Just something to create more drama in realistic drama in the story to go outside of the character's story. Because your character story is going to be your character story, but there needs to be more outside that too. So like creating these other dynamics, the character dynamics, and then the political world dynamics. Those are really important things, I think, to focus on in a princess book and any book.
I think for me, it goes back to those rules and those regulations and the differences between when you're royal and when you're interacting with a royal. And I really like digging down into those tiny little interactions and how they're different, and how you can respond differently, how you can act differently, how you can walk differently, how you can move differently, and how that's perceived by the people around them. So I really love building up that world around them, where they're living, how they're interacting with people, and then that connection between the people that are part of the royal family and part of the people advising the royals and people who are very much outside of that royal family. So I think it's really important to kind of focus on the differences and be very, very clear. You don't have to be very loud and overt about it, but be very, very clear about how this is royal and this is someone who is not royal, and play in those differences as you are writing and creating that.
Now, we've talked a lot about writing princess stories. What is your best advice for people that are creating one? Jay?
I think I said before, if people come to princess stories because they know what they're getting into, mostly. They do want the sparkle, they do want the ball gowns, they do want the princess who's probably going to be kicking ass, whether it's literally or she's going to be ruling a country or getting into that. So you need to meet those expectations, and people do want crowns and glitter and all that stuff too. So that really.
Yeah.
My best advice, I guess, would be to listen to what we said throughout this entire episode, because I think all of this, if you take heed to what we all said, then I think that is sound advice. Yeah, that's why we did the episode anyway. But I think it's just really focus on creating a character that people are going to relate to, and it's going to resound with them. Whether it's a retelling or a completely new princess in a modern day world. Everybody fell in love with Mia because it was so relatable in the Princess Diaries. She was so relatable because she was just your average girl and she was struggling. So create a character, honestly, that people will relate to, and then kind of build your story around her, build the world around her, and go from there.
Now, going off that, my advice would be to remember that they're just a person and they just happen to have a crown. So write like them as a person. Don't write them as like this untouchable, flawless being. What about
Unless
you, Kate?
You're going for somebody that's supposed to look like that, but then deep down inside has
Oh my goodness, KM.
I think for me, it kind of goes back to some of the writing advice I've given on other episodes, and that is to keep very clear track of the decisions you're making within your royalty world building. So if they are doing specific things, or if they're saying specific things, if there are rules and regulations, write them in a separate document, have them there ready to go, and then refer back to it, because if you mess up at some point, your fans are going to call you on that. So I think for me, the best advice I can give to people writing a princess story is to keep very clear track of the decisions that you're making about how they are and who they are, and then really lean into that throughout the course of your story or series. All right, we have loved hanging out today. We've had so much fun talking all about princess books. Before we go, we do want to hear just a little bit more about J.A.'s story. So tell us just a little bit more about Charm and about your other princess books.
Okay, well, Charm was my first one. I actually asked my readers what did they want me to write, and I kind of give them anything, any scope, anything they wanted, and they said, we want Cinderella. And I was like, oh, okay. Because before that, I hadn't written any princess books, and it actually did really, really well. So, like I said, it's a princess. It starts off very sad. Her sister's just died, but she is pushed into her sister's role that she wasn't expecting. She was never expecting to be the heir to the throne. She was kind of the second princess, and nobody really looked at her. And then she was suddenly thrust into this role. And then she had everything that went with that. And there was a lot of tension between the people. So yeah, if you like Cinderella, but if you like something a little bit more, a bit deeper than that, and you like lots of magic, it would be a good book to read. I have a number of other fairy tale retellings. I've got Little Mermaid, Aladdin. So look at my books. Next year, I have 52 books coming out, all princesses and princes. So one a week. So if you really like princes and princesses, you might want to keep a track of what I'm up to. I'm co-authoring with a number of other authors. I've kind of just outed us. I promised I wouldn't say anything.
Heard it here first.
I know that there's someone in the chat room watching, so hi. Yeah, we have a number of retellings coming out next year. There's 52. They take place 18 years after all your happy ever afters. So after your Sleeping Beauty, after your Cinderella, after your Little Mermaid. So all those fairy tales that everybody knows and loves, we're looking at 18 years later when the happily ever afters end.
Ooh, and that's I love that.
And you can write, we have one chapter a day. So you can read a chapter every single day. The first chapter is the 1st of January, and it's called the 1st of January. And yeah, we've been writing all year. So, and that's why we've been able to publish.
Good for you.
So we're able to publish one book a week. Yeah, and one chapter a day, every single day for the whole year.
Wow. Well, we're going to have you back for an episode on that. That's awesome.
You'll have to bring my co-authors in too, because it's not just me.
Yeah. We'll chat about this when we get off air. This is exciting. But before we let you go, can you let everybody know where they can find you online?
I'm on Facebook, mostly. That's where I hang out the most. It's just J.A. Armitage. You'll find me. If you type in J.A. Armitage Reading Army, that's my group. And I have a website, jaarmitage.com. But Facebook's where I am. That's where I live.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We've loved having you here to talk all about National Princess Day and writing princess books. We can't wait to get you back on. Thank you so much for hanging out.
I enjoyed it. Thank you. And thank you for letting me wear my tiara. Thank you.
All right. We will see you again soon. And if you had fun today, we have some big things coming up soon in Young Adult Edition. Next Monday, we are going to be celebrating Booksgiving. So if you are a fan of hanging out, talking all about books, we are doing our Thanksgiving celebration, Booksgiving, next week. And we are live every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, every single Monday right here on Facebook.com/KMRobinsonBooks. We would love for you to join us because we've got some really big episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks and in the new year. Big things are happening. We cannot wait to share those with you. And if you've got an author you would like to see on the show, please tag them in the comments right now and let us know why you want to see them. That's so we know why you want to see them on the show and they know why you tagged them. So it's not just a random tag. Let us know, who would you absolutely love to see on our show? And of course, if you want to come hang out and have more of a say of who comes on our show, we would love to have you join our advisory board. You can come on over to youngadultedition.com/team for more information on our advisory board. We're doing some really big things and looking for our Young Adult Edition reporters. So come on, check it out and let us know if you would like to come hang out with us. Before we go, ladies, we got to let everybody know where we can find, or they can find you, they can find us. So Elle, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok at Beaumont Books. You can find me on Twitter, which is Elle Beaumont. You can find me on YouTube, which is Elle Beaumont. And you can always find me at elbeaumontbooks.com.
And we all joined TikTok this week. We've got some really interesting content out, so you guys want to make sure you come hang out with us over on TikTok as well. Amber, where can everybody find you?
My website is amberrduel.com. I'm on Facebook, Amber R. Duel Author, Twitter, AmberR_Duel, and Instagram and TikTok now, Amber R. Duel.
Fantastic. And as always, you can come hang out with me over at kmrobinsonbooks.com. World portals are now open. There's some really cool extra bonus content over there, so make sure you check that out. And you can come hang out with me at KM Robinson Books on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, IGTV, YouTube, and TikTok for all of the fun. We're dropping all of the breaking book world news over on our YouTube channel and on youngadultedition.com, where we've got all sorts of amazing things, and we're about to break out some really cool new content that you do not want to miss out on. So make sure you come hang out at youngadultedition.com for more. We will see you again next week right here on facebook.com/KMRobinsonBooks as we celebrate Booksgiving and all the fun that comes with it. We will see you again then. Until then, have a fantastic day and stay inspired. Thanks so much for joining us.